Clareia a floresta toda.
Isso aqui é uma foto mesmo tirada,
foto
não é?
tirada.
Isso é real.
Não pode o negócio.
Rick, vai com ela.
In the last few days, a mysterious video from Brazil has taken social media by storm. The video shows an elderly couple who claim to have encountered mysterious entities within the forests of Brazil. They describe these beings as glowing humanoid figures, often referred to locally as the Blue Guardians. Their testimony, earnest and compelling, has reignited fascination with unexplained phenomena in South America, a region that has long been a hotspot for UFO activity and reports of encounters with non-human intelligences. What sets this case apart, however, is the clarity with which the beings are described and the strange combination of both glowing entities and shadow-like figures reportedly sharing the same space within the forests. According to the couple, these blue guardians appear as radiant humanoids, bathed in a soft blue glow, unlike anything seen in ordinary life. Eyewitnesses report that these beings radiate an aura that illuminates their surroundings, standing out even in dense, shadowy parts of the jungle. Their bodies are humanoid in shape, yet distinctly otherworldly, their movements fluid and their presence commanding. Strikingly, the couple also warns of taller shadow beings that linger nearby, described as towering dark forms that exude an aura of menace. This duality between radiant guardians and ominous shadows has left researchers and the public alike struggling to make sense of what is being reported. Brazil is no stranger to such phenomena. For decades, the country has stood at the forefront of UFO and entity encounters, from the famous Colares case of the 1970s to modern sightings of glowing orbs and unidentifiable crafts. The emergence of this new viral video only strengthens Brazil's reputation as a hub for unexplained encounters. What has captured worldwide attention is the similarity between the Brazilian testimonies and reports emerging from Peru in recent months. Villagers in Peru have claimed to witness towering beings, some describing them as nearly 7 feet tall, armored, and capable of floating above the ground. Witnesses said these entities appeared invulnerable to human attempts to ward them off, leading to widespread fear in rural communities. The parallels between these accounts are striking. The Brazilian Blue Guardians, though glowing and radiant, are said to appear around the same time as mysterious glowing orbs, echoing the orbs reported in Peru. The shadow beings warned off by the Brazilian couple bear resemblance to the tall, armored entities described by Peruvian villagers. Eyewitnesses in Peru even compared their assailants to mythical figures embedded in their cultural memory, referring specifically to the face peelers, sinister figures rooted in folklore. While Peruvian law enforcement recently suggested that a human suspect may have been involved in the disturbances, local residents have remained steadfast in their claims that what they encountered was far beyond human. In Brazil, residents are beginning to speak out more openly about their own long-running encounters. Some communities have claimed that sightings of glowing humanoids go back several years, yet until recently, such reports were easily dismissed or ignored. The viral spread of the recent video has changed this, allowing testimonies that once would have remained confined to isolated villages to gain attention. Locals say that these entities often appear in conjunction with glowing spheres of light, suggesting a connection between the orbs and the humanoid figures. The synchronization of these sightings has become a focal point for researchers, as the presence of orbs has been reported in countless UFO cases worldwide. One of the most mysterious elements of the Blue Guardians is their apparent ability to vanish instantaneously. Witnesses describe how the glowing humanoids can disappear without leaving any trace, as though stepping into another dimension or phasing out of existence. This vanishing act, impossible to explain with conventional science, has led to speculation that these beings may not be bound by the same physical laws as humans. If true, this ability points to a level of control over matter and energy far beyond human understanding. The shadow beings, too, are said to exhibit unusual behavior, moving silently and seemingly blending into their surroundings before reappearing elsewhere. The elderly couple's account carries particular weight because of its sincerity. They are not technological influencers chasing attention, but rather ordinary individuals who seemed genuinely shaken by their experiences. Their testimony mirrors countless other grassroots reports from across South America, where rural communities continue to speak of luminous figures, dark entities, and unexplained phenomena in their skies and forests. The implications of these encounters are profound. If the Blue Guardians are indeed a genuine phenomenon, then humanity may be witnessing contact with an entirely unknown species or intelligence. Their glowing bodies and vanishing abilities suggest advanced mastery over energy and matter, while their reoccurrence over years hints at a deliberate presence rather than random appearances. The connection with orbs raises further questions, as many researchers believe these spheres may act as transportation mechanisms, surveillance devices, or even forms of consciousness themselves. The shadow beings present a different challenge. While the Blue Guardians evoke awe and mystery, the towering shadow figures inspire unease. Eyewitnesses describe them as dark, imposing, and difficult to confront, yet unable to inflict lasting harm. Their resemblance to folkloric creatures raises the possibility that local legends may have been inspired by real encounters spanning generations. The face peeler stories in Peru, for example, take on a new dimension when compared with modern accounts of armored, invulnerable entities. What was once myth may now be part of a much broader, ongoing reality. The reaction to the viral video demonstrates how quickly these stories can resonate with people across cultures. From forums to news outlets, the footage and testimonies have sparked conversations about the nature of extraterrestrial beings, the possibility of guardianship or surveillance, and the age-old struggle between light and shadow. Unlike isolated UFO sightings of simple lights in the sky, these encounters place humanoid forms directly into human environments, making the phenomena more personal, more immediate, and more difficult to dismiss. Some researchers argue that the being's glowing appearance might represent an advanced form of energy manipulation, perhaps even a protective field shielding them from human observation or environmental conditions. Others speculate about different types of travel, suggesting that the ability to vanish could point to the use of portals or shifts between realities. The shadow beings, by contrast, may be a different class of entity altogether, perhaps predators, guardians, or even projections of fear designed to dissuade human curiosity. What remains constant in all these accounts is the human response. Communities living in proximity to these phenomena describe feelings of awe, fear, reverence, and confusion. Some see the Blue Guardians as protectors, shining figures of light in a world of uncertainty. Others see both the glowing beings and their shadow counterparts as signs of something powerful and potentially beyond human control. For the elderly couple in Brazil, sharing their story was both a warning and a plea for understanding. As of now, no definitive explanation has been reached. Scientific authorities remain hesitant to address the phenomena directly, often attributing such reports to misidentification, folklore, or human imagination. Yet the persistence of these sightings, the striking similarities across countries, and the sincerity of eyewitnesses suggest that something profound is occurring. Brazil and Peru may only be the beginning, focal points of a broader pattern that humanity is only starting to recognize. The Varginha incident. On the afternoon of January 20th, 1996, shortly after 3:30 in the afternoon, 3 girls were strolling together in Santana, located in the northern part of Varginha. Sisters Liliane and Valkyria da Silva, aged 16 and 14 respectively, along with 22-year-old Katia Xavier, arrived at an unoccupied and barren area of land, encountering a most extraordinary scene. A peculiar demon-like entity was positioned against the wall of a deserted cinder-block structure. The creature's skin had a leathery brown hue, and it appeared to possess a triangular-shaped head with prominent red eyes. Its limbs were disproportionately short for its torso, with an estimated height of 2.5 feet. As the group stayed in place, unable to avert their gaze from the peculiar creature, they observed that it seemed as terrified as they undoubtedly were. Subsequently, they would recount how it seemed to hunch lower against the building's wall, seemingly attempting to evade their scrutiny. After a brief interval, the 3 girls pivoted and sprinted back to the main thoroughfare. They would go at full speed till they arrived at the residence of the teenage sisters. The situation would require around 20 minutes to attain a state of calm for the account to be comprehended. Katia, along with the sisters' mother, would then coordinate with a neighbor to revisit the location where they observed the peculiar creature. Upon their return, the thing was absent. An indentation was present on the grass where it had been situated earlier. A pronounced and pungent odor of ammonia was present. This is an aroma observed in the specifics of some close contact reports, and while they did not observe the monster, another individual had. An old widow and her granddaughter heard the screams of 3 little girls upon first noticing the peculiar figure. Although the females had departed by the time the 2 witnesses arrived, the grandma and small girl remained and observed the happenings covertly. They would assert that a vehicle from the municipal fire department arrived. The firefighters would promptly apprehend the beast before departing as though nothing had occurred. The incident will soon attract the attention of media and UFO investigators. Ubirajara Franco Rodriguez, in particular, would conduct a more in-depth investigation. His notes express his conviction in the honesty of the 3 females, and additionally, he would seek further supporting witnesses. Notably, a bricklayer named Henrique José de Souza asserted that he observed a fire department vehicle at the site of the purported sighting, despite the fact that his observation occurred prior to the time the 3 girls encountered the monster. A particularly compelling testimony would emerge in the form of local resident Aurelina Augusta. She asserted that she was awakened just after 1 in the morning on the 20th of January by the sound of bellowing animals from a nearby farm several miles distant. Upon approaching her window, she observed the cattle stampeding in distress. She understood the rationale. A submarine-shaped, luminescent thing hovered over them. She promptly roused her husband, and they both peered out of their window, seeing the grey smoke rising from the craft's side. It abruptly commenced movement, exhibiting a jerky stop-and-start action. It became evident to both that the vessel was impaired in some manner. In Brazil, the fire service is governed by the military police. This, in itself, renders the assertions of the fire department apprehending the creature potentially more convincing. Records from the Varginha City Fire Department reveal a call around 8:30 in the morning on January 20th. The call details indicate that an unusual creature was traversing the woods on the city's periphery, in proximity to the location of the subsequent apprehension that afternoon. Upon the fire service's arrival at the scene, documents indicate that 3 small boys informed them of having witnessed the thing. The direction they asserted it was headed would, theoretically, lead to the site of the 3 young girls' sighting. Additionally, 2 other occupants, an unidentified man and woman, would corroborate the boys' account. The mum recalled that the boys were hurling stones at the thing. She instructed them to cease, and they complied. It subsequently vanished into the forest. A small search unit would be dispatched by the fire department into the woodland, but other than the occasional glimpse of movement, no definite sightings occurred. 2 hours later, as noted by Rodriguez, they succeeded in cornering the beast. They successfully captured it, observing its complete lack of resistance, maybe indicating an injury. Later that day, 3 creatures were captured, including the one that the 3 girls had seen. A severe storm would ensue shortly thereafter, suspending the search for several hours. By 6 in the evening, the search units would re-enter the woodland. It was reported that 2 officers, who were described as plain-clothed operatives, would track down and apprehend a 4th monster. Devoid of the equipment utilized by the search teams, the 2 agents compelled the monster into the rear of their vehicle. Local expert studies indicate that the agents transported the monster to a small local clinic. Nevertheless, the physician would deny them entry to the premises and would withhold treatment. He recommended that they transport it to the hospital in the city. One of the undercover officers, reportedly identified as Marco Cherez, had physically restrained the creature with his own hands during its capture. Shortly thereafter, he fell gravely unwell and was admitted to the hospital due to the loss of function in all of his limbs. He would decline swiftly, with little reaction to any interventions. Ultimately, he would perish on February 15th. Nevertheless, the subsequent events are very unsettling, to put it mildly. The hospital provided no clarification regarding the officer's demise. They ordered that his coffin be sealed and that the funeral occur within hours. The family intends to litigate against the Brazilian military for Cheriz's demise. Nonetheless, the sole new information they uncovered was a minimal presence of dangerous substances in his system, and potentially more incriminating, a conspicuous modification of official documents indicating that Cheriz was off-duty on the night in question. Rodriguez's investigations revealed that an entire wing of the city's hospital was restricted in the aftermath of the tragedy. Additionally, the military will convene a conference with all hospital personnel. They would notify them that the events of the past few days constituted a training exercise for medical and military professionals. More concerning, they were directed to refute all inquiries if questioned. There were 3 sizable military vehicles outside the hospital in the afternoon on January 22nd. The reports indicate that the creature remained alive at this juncture. The military would secure it in hermetically sealed advanced technology canisters prepared for transit. Subsequent inquiries by local researchers revealed that at approximately 4 in the morning on January 23rd, a convoy of military vehicles, commanded by a yellow Volkswagen van, departed from the city of Varginha. Their destination is unspecified. Certain assertions indicate that Senior Fortunato Baden Palhares would conduct the autopsy of the alleged extraterrestrial beings. He consistently refuted this. According to a student who inquired about the supposed autopsy in the late 1990s, he expressed a desire to provide an explanation, but requested that the subject be posed in 10 to 15 years. Dr. Palhares may have been overly enthusiastic regarding the disclosure he appears to anticipate. Subsequent inquiries would disclose the presence of at least 1 US agent in Varginha from January 20th to 23rd. The North American Aerospace Defense Command had alerted Brazilian authorities on 13th of January 1996, indicating that it had detected several strange objects over the Western Hemisphere that night. 1 or more had intruded into Brazilian airspace. The possibility of 1 or more unidentified objects crashing to the Earth in Brazil that evening, potentially near Varginha, is a subject of debate. Nonetheless, a report of such an instance exists. Carlos de Souza was operating a vehicle on the Fernão Dias Highway in the early hours of the 13th of January. He was fewer than 5 miles from Varginha when he abruptly heard a muted roaring noise emanating from above. Upon directing his gaze upward, he observed a cigar-shaped silver vehicle moving at an approximate speed of 50 miles per hour. He discerned 4 windows down the side of the UFO, which he estimated to be approximately 40 feet in length. Additionally, he observed a jagged split or break at the front of the item. Dense white smoke spewed into the atmosphere from this mechanical injury. The craft quickly surpassed Souza, and for 10 minutes he trailed the silver object. Subsequently, it vanished into a descent beyond the tree canopy. From Souza's perspective, there was no doubt it had descended someplace in the forest. He persisted in operating his truck towards the location he presumed the object descended. After several minutes, evidence of his conviction emerged. He halted his truck, unwilling to approach any nearer. In the field before him, he observed the dispersed silver remnants of the cigar-shaped vessel that had traversed the sky mere minutes prior. He was surprised by the appearance of approximately 40 troops engaged in collecting the rubble and loading it onto military vehicles. He observed a fragment of silver substance situated not far ahead of his position. He approached it and retrieved it. As he proceeded, one of the soldiers commanded him to depart without delay. He complied, but asserts that when he paused for coffee several miles later, 2 military personnel in civilian attire approached him. They recognized his identity and explicitly instructed him not to disclose what he had witnessed. Although there is no definitive evidence supporting Souza's narrative, it aligns with the seemingly disclosed knowledge regarding the North American Aerospace Defense Command, details that Souza could not have known at that time. It is certain that the case likely involves more complexity than a mere fake. Moreover, it possibly disseminates disinformation to obscure the facts regarding the events of late January 1996 in Varginha, Brazil.